Hello, and welcome to our channel, MarshStream, your public performance broadcast platform. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. You can also donate to our tip jar and support the arts and artists of MarshStream by clicking the link below in the description. Check out our website, themarsh.org, for all upcoming live performances. Now, enjoy the show.
Tonight, we offer a special presentation that focuses on healing across cultures, because understanding different cultures not only allows us to be more accepting and tolerant of other people, and even to have an appreciation for our differences, but paves the way for a world where we can all stand together as humanity on our great Mother Earth. We're going to open with Stefanie Rummel's specially produced piece for our show. Let me tell you about the artist. Stefanie Rummel is a multi-award-winning singer, character actress, dancer, and magician who performs in English, French, and German. For more than 20 years, Rummel has written shows for theater, conferences, cabarets, and even cruise ships. Her musical credits include Nonsense, Jesus Christ Superstar, Sweet Charity, and Kiss Me Kate. Rummel has a PhD in body language and is a triple certified voice specialist, and is still a mentor course instructor. We can talk more about that after. After living in France, the US, and Germany, Rummel drew inspiration from her own experiences to create this intercultural show that captures the little things in life, from the delicious food to special traditions, haute couture, and more. So, and I do want to tell you that she will be joining us live from Frankfurt, Germany tonight. So we're going to start with Chansons, an intercultural experience. And Kristen, if you would play that, please.
Welcome. My name is Stefanie Rummel, and I present you parts of my show Chansons, which means French songs. It's my intercultural musical cabaret, and now I just say, enjoy. In Avignon, there is a bridge. It is called Pont Saint-Bénéfice. This bridge has been built 500 years ago. It was destroyed 2 times by floods, but then something unusual happened. This bridge became one of the most famous bridges in France. People decided to dance underneath the arches of the bridge, and they had so much fun doing that more happened. Funny enough, people have sung songs about this bridge, and they have danced. And now, in nurseries, in schools, and even adults sing the song about this bridge. Do you remember the song? Join, listen. Sur le pont d'Avignon, on y danse sur le pont d'Avignon. On y danse tout en rond, on the bridge of Avignon. We are dancing on the bridge of Avignon. We are dancing all day long sur le pont d'Avignon. L'on y danse sur le pont d'Avignon. On y danse tout en rond, Avignon, sur le pont d'Avignon. I love to travel to other countries. Why? Because I like to watch their traditions, the way how they behave. I find it quite inspiring. I also love to learn more about how they create their food, what they wear, what kind of music they listen to, from Africa to Brazil to Japan. It's really enriching. If you get the chance to meet the people and to meet the country, it's really amazing what you learn from them. For example, in the eastern part of France, there is a city called Metz, and I decided to do a little walk downtown, and I found a sundial hanging up there with the words written on it, Prends ton temps, sinon il te prend. which means take your time. Otherwise, it takes you. Wow. We are all having our time in our own hands, so we have to take care of it, otherwise it just goes away. It really touched me, and now I think you will enjoy time in a different way. Do you know this song? Listen. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? This is a French chanson, a French song. It has been written in the 18th century and it has been translated in 120 different languages. Now the song is sung all over the world. In French, English, Spanish, Afrikaans, Japanese, Chinese, Dutch, Italian, German, Vietnamese. Sing along in your own languages. Are you sleeping? Sonne la matine, ding dong bell, Ramachan, Sanjuguay, Bruder Jakob, Frère Jacques, donde está Pau de Quai? Suona le campane, bom bom bai trencau vom, bim bam bum, king bam bum. Music unites us. It doesn't matter which language we are speaking. We understand each other, no matter where we are from. It is so much fun to sing together. Now listen to the endings of the songs. They're all different. Kings, dons, dells. Music unites. Cultures look at luck in various different ways. For example, in Germany, if you want to wish luck to somebody, you just press your thumbs. It looks like that. Viel Glück. And I know in the States you will cross your fingers to do that. So you say good luck, and you are like the French, because they also croise les doigts. Voilà. I'm going to knock on wood for you. I'm also pressing my thumbs, crossing my fingers 4 times, and I hope everything is fine in your life, and I wish you a lot of luck. Breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe out. Breathe deeply in and deeply out. Imagine that you are at a beautiful place. A beautiful place. Maybe a place in your vacation. My vacation. What did you wear? What did I wear? How did it feel? How did I feel? What did you eat? Oh, it tasted so good. How did it taste like? Yummy. Whom did you meet? What did you do? Oh, it was nice. See this beautiful place right in front of your eyes. It was a beach, a city. It makes you feel really, really good. It was really nice. Just imagine it again. And right there. It feels so good. It's relaxing. Yes. taste it and smell it. It really tastes good. And I touch it, this beautiful dress. I see it right in front of my eyes. Oh yes. And I like this hat. It's right there. Oh, so good. Anytime. Yes. So good. Do you see it too? Yeah. Oh, so good. Just remember it. Oh, so good. It's always there with you. Oh, so good. Yes. Staying healthy can be a challenge, and cultures have different ways of looking at it. For example, people care for food or herbs. Others use meditation or massage. Others prefer ointments or pills whenever they have some kind of ache. And also art can heal. Why so? Because symbols and pictures actually touch us deeper in our heart than we think. Emotions can be shown by pictures, dance, acting. And that's the reason why there are professional drama, music, dance, painting therapies. You will be amazed what kind of results you can receive out of them. And now you're going to learn a bit more about art. Art. Ça bouge, it moves, ça touche, it touches, ça laisse ton âme rêver. It makes you dream, it changes, ça dérange, it mixes up, ça a l'air d'un ange qui passe. It's like an angel. L'art essentiel. The art is essential. It's like the sky, a new dimension, a reflection. L'art essentiel, comme le ciel éternel. It's so eternal. A single moment, un seul moment, a new time. Art is within us, anytime. Ça danse, it dances. Ça longe, it spreads out. Nous songer. It makes us dream. It moves. It announces. It even prolongs life. Art is so essential, just like the sky. Look at the dimensions, reflected. It inspires us any moment, any time. It's so much fun. It makes us react. It even makes us cry. It lets us smile. And we are reading it. It creates a beautiful atmosphere. The essential art. It's a dimension like the sky. It reflects ourselves. It's part of us. Forever. And a moment. This was a part of my virtually adapted show, Chansons, which means songs, by the way. It's my 60 to 90-minute musical cabaret, which I perform in English, German, and French. Thank you so much, MarshStream, Solo Arts Heal, Gail Shikele, Stefanie Weismann, and many other people in the background who have supported me to be here. And now I'm looking forward to the discussion round. See you in a bit.
Thank you so much, Stefanie. What a beautiful video.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And we have you in that same beautiful setting. Lovely piece. And I do want to remind the audience you're live from Germany. Thank you so much for being there. Is Frankfurt your hometown?
It's where I've been born, yes.
And this piece that you put together, you have dancing and language. In fact, with the Frère Jacques, I wanted to ask you: are you a puppeteer as well? Are those?
Thanks to the lockdown, I took classes with Paul Liberty, and he inspired me to do Frère Jacques with puppets indirectly because I took that class. And I just thought, since I was singing it in 12 different languages, how can I show it to the audience? And that was the best way to do it.
I thought it was great. Yeah, it was really sweet. And the food, the things that bring us together, food is certainly one of them, interculturally around the world. And art heals. Are these all songs that you actually do in your stage show?
I do Frère Jacques, I do Sur le Pont d'Avignon. I do art. Art is a song written by myself, and I actually do play piano there, which I usually don't because I have a pianist with me, but Corona makes everything possible nowadays. And also Feel Good is a piece from myself, so I've written it some years ago, and I integrated it because of the healing effect. Because art actually, if you listen to music, it's proven in medicine that it can reduce anxiety and people feel more relaxed, have less stress. And I thought that would be a nice approach for today.
That was perfect. These as you have said, anecdotes about different ways of living inspire us to look at our own lives in a different way, and we can take home messages that can change our lives. What are some of the things that you look to share with the audience in terms of?
Well, I have lived in France since my childhood. I was there again and again, and I remember that I didn't speak French at the beginning, and I was playing with French children outside, and we were talking with our hands and doing all that kind of stuff. And when I finally had my first classes, it opened up my eyes. I mean, I really understood what they were saying, and I did a deeper idea about the culture itself. I had the chance to go to high school in the United States, and I got the feeling from the American point of view, wow, that's great. And, so supporting. And this kind of energy I brought back into my country, which is also very energetic and emotional, but sometimes a bit more to the point. So, and when I go to France, it's the way of enjoying time with each other. Of eating well, of having nice clothing, of having perfumes, of each city has a contest of having the most beautiful flowers in the city. Le village fleuri, that's something really nice. And I have some stories to tell, but maybe you want to ask me something.
Well, one thing I do want to do actually, maybe before we launch in any farther, is I want to take a moment to remind the audience that we do have a tip jar in the chat, and your tax-deductible support is indeed needed very much to help keep the MarshStream platform open to our communities during this time of theater closure. 70% of Marsh funding comes through ticket sales, and we have no ticket sales, so Please give what you can. No amount, as Stephanie would always say, is too small. No amount is too big. But also, we encourage comments and questions from the audience, especially, well, anytime. But tonight, we'd love to hear comments and questions from the audience. And our producers will help us keep an eye on that, both on the Zoom and YouTube side. So yes, Stephanie, with that, what differences, since your show is music, it's a cabaret music, and what differences in music would you highlight, and which impact that it has on society?
And my show is called Chansons, which is translated into songs or songwriting songs. But I think the French chanson itself is special because it's very passionate and very deeply emotional, and it opens up the worlds of people's minds. And it is a possibility to really look into how to love, how to feel when people are afraid to talk about it. And that's what I want to show to a certain extent with chansons. I think in musical theater in the States, you do the same thing. You tell stories about life, about existentialism. I remember I went to New York in the 80s and saw Les Miserables, and I was astonished everybody's crying at the same time. How is this possible? In the open world, you know, at the same time, anything goes. We had so much fun. We laughed. And so it gives us a chance to show what's inside of us. And yeah.
Is that not something you would see in Germany? Everybody showing their emotion in the theater?
They do show emotions, but I think it's a possibility for everyone in our world through arts to really open it up and to laugh and cry together in bigger crowds. That's the point I wanted to make. And we have humor, and we can laugh and smile in Germany as well as in any other country. Yeah. But I have this love to France because, one example, imagine you have a colleague and says, Stephanie, do you want to give a gift to a client of us in France? And well, I didn't know this client, so I said, well, why not? We thought we pass by for 5 or 10 minutes and then just we go. Well, but if you know the French, you know this doesn't work, because we came there and they said, take a little bit aperitif. This is like just a little cocktail or something. And we said, okay. Then they said, you know, how about having a little dinner together, you know, just like one course. But actually they were serving 2 courses, 3 courses, 7 courses. After 7 courses and many hours, we left this place and we are friends ever since. This special time. Or a businessman said, you know, Stephanie, I love the French food, but why do I have to eat with French 3 times until I can make business? Because it's about life, about enjoying life. And that's what I really, I want to make a difference there, to see you can take time and get deeper links with people in a deeper way. And that's something I wanted to share.
Wonderful. Yes, the cultures are very different. And I know in the American culture where you may have an appointment with someone and you go to the office and you're working while you're waiting to meet with the person. But in some cultures, you don't do anything because your job, you're sitting there waiting to meet with the person, and you don't do anything else, or it may be an insult to them. So
there's another example which comes to my mind, because I had an American friend coming to Germany and we went for dinner together, and she said after 4 hours, they didn't bring the bill yet. So yeah, it's just different.
It moves much faster here in the States, whereas it's lovely to sit forever in a cafe in Paris or in France or I suppose in Germany and other places. Is that mostly true, you find, throughout Europe?
I think, yeah. The more you go to the south, I think people take more time to enjoy life. I think. I'm sorry if I'm offending maybe somebody, but that's a feeling I have.
No, not at all. I think it's just the reality of what, of how it is. Of course, not every establishment is that way. And, there's always differences in every, there's McDonald's in France and there's, everything.
Actually, in Avignon, there was the first French McDonald's opened up in the 80 somewhere. So it took some time. There was some kind of, how is this possible? Now it's natural.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So what other differences you particularly were between the U.S., Germany, and France as to eating together? Can you share some of your experiences eating? Yeah, you've already told one.
I already said, I mean, you have a high quality food. I love to go to markets, you know, the strawberries, if you eat them, they taste like wild strawberries, you know. So the food quality is very, very high in France, and you really make a difference there. For it's a bit more pricey, but people take care about regional food, and you spend time together to enjoy it and to really eat it together. We do that a little less intense in Germany, and I think we are even quicker in the States. Calorie wise, health wise, the Southern Europeans actually have a better life expectancy. See, because and they eat a lot of oil and tomatoes and garlic. It's all protective. The red wine actually is protective for our hearts. If you do it all your life, just one glass, that's what I learned in university. One glass of red wine since childhood, then you're fine. But don't drink more than this. Then you have less heart diseases, less strokes. And in Germany, we eat a little quicker. We created in Frankfurt, actually, the hot dog. Did you know that? It was called Frankfurter, and we still have them. And so we are a little bit like the Americans. So there's, you know, and but the food in the States is international. You consist out of so many cultures. And I'm amazed. I mean, when I talk to Americans, you know, one is an eighth Italian, an eighth Irish, an eighth African, an eighth Chinese. You have all cultures mixed. So it's a very, very rich culture you have.
Oh yes, absolutely. We're a melting pot here of
Yes.
culture that all came from all over the world.
Yes.
And now I think also let's talk about language for a minute, because in Europe, because you know, here you drive 3,000 miles across our country, even more, and you do have French in Canada, but primarily you have English in the States and Canada, and then North America also includes Mexico. A lot of people speak Spanish, and of course we have a lot of Chinese and Japanese. In addition to cultures, of course, from all over the world. I mean, I have English, Irish, and German name. So that's very true here. And one of the things we talked about was so I just wanted to say in Europe, most in school you usually learn a couple languages. You have your own language, and then often English plus another language. Is that right?
Yes, we at least learn 2 languages in high school. It starts at the 5th grade until the 12th or 13th grade years. We count the years, so 12 to 13 years. And I learned 3 languages in high school. So it was English, French, and Spanish. And I think, which is important to know, we have those courses every year, every week, continuously. And what I think is very enriching, we have exchange programs where you have to go to high school in France, in the States, and where you experience from deep within how a culture is like. And when you have to speak the language, when we meet the people out there, then actually also in studies, it's said, for example, from the British Council, they say the adaptability of people is better, especially in times of change like this. You adapt better. You have a better self-awareness because you rethink yourself by seeing other cultures. You will realize, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Or isn't that amazing? I want to do that. Just get there. I want to cook like that. So this is something which makes a big change. Plus, when you learn the languages, you live differently. you get a different way of speaking even, ja. Listen to me when I speak in German, ja. Ich begrüße alle in der ganzen Welt, die in YouTube und auch in MarshStream uns jetzt hier sehen. Je dis bonjour à chaque personne qui sont là pour nous voir. Merci beaucoup pour venir. Et quand je parle français, j'utilise plus de gestes, ma voix est différente. So when I'm speaking French, my voice is changing. I'm using different gestures. If I'm speaking German, my voice is a little deeper, and it gives a different way of living, even a different way of use. And that is very, very enriching if we do that. But we have to experience it from the deep inside.
Mm-hmm. When I was in France and would do a lot of gestures, they would say, you're like an Italian, because using all the gestures.
Yes.
So, before we were really international, that you would travel in Europe, and here we travel in the States with one. But now we are in an international world. We're really much more of a global society. Is the Asian culture a lot more of an influence, and is Chinese and other Japanese offered as much in school as the European languages?
It is offered. In my times, when I went to high school, I didn't see that. It was more Greek and Latin and Spanish, Italian, French. But nowadays, it's all possible. You can learn many other languages, and we are much broader oriented. And I think it's a global world. We are living in a global world right now, and it's virtually opening up. That we can connect here from Frankfurt to San Francisco, I think it's very amazing. And if we are ready, even in Corona times, to adjust to that, there are so many options. Cultures are different, yes, but we can learn a lot. Humor, for example, is something which is really, really nice.
Humor is very different. It's hard to translate, isn't it?
It is hard to translate, but I realized that I have a different humor when I speak English or French. I can tell you a story. For example, I went to a receptionist in a hotel with 7 other Germans, and I started talking with him, and j'ai parlé un peu comme ça, voilà, et j'ai fait des bêtises. And the German came and said, do you know this guy? And I said, no. But why are you joking around? And I actually do joke much more around when I'm with French people than I'm in German. It's just a different way. I'm a bit more distant in German.
More playful when you're speaking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Isn't that fun? So you get more humor and more ideas and more flexibility.
Interesting. I wonder if that's the lyrical nature of the language, or what that
it is a music. It's even men speak a little higher with their voices. It's more flowing, more musical to a certain way. Mm-hmm. And also I find it's quite interesting. In some cultures we give our hands, in others we give hugs, or we give les bisous. Yeah, so the proximity towards people is different. The more you go south, you even touch people more. And I think Americans also do more hugs than in Northern Europe we would do it. So that's kind of interesting to see those exchanges. Mm-hmm. And any other thing you want to ask?
And and language also really it informs our thinking often. Just the way things are translated from one language to the other does make a difference in how we think about things.
For example, the French say, quand le bouchon est tiré, il faut le boire. In Germany, we say, wer A sagt, muss auch B sagen. So it means if you start something, you have to do it finally. But the French say, if the bottle of wine is opened, you have to drink it. So they're figuratively even more connected to food and enjoying life, even in their sayings, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more food references.
Yeah.
What would it be more in Germany?
As I said, wer A sagt, muss B sagen. It's very straight. If you said A, you have to do B, and that's it. Go for it. And Southern cultures are known to be a bit more flexible. We said this way, but if the other option might be better, we do this one or this one. So I think when we start mixing those thoughts and ideas, we are the best to go all together, because mixed teams work better if you have different ways of thinking together. And Also in our life, when we have different ways of searching solutions, we'll find our way out. And that's what happens when we do art and when we look at different cultures and live with them.
Now, I want to talk for a moment about pronunciation, because we were discussing this earlier, and one of the things was your name, Stefanie Rummel. And I noticed in your video, you said it in the American pronunciation, Stephanie.
I adjust. That's how it goes.
So, and there is a Martian, one of the wonderful performers here is Irma Herrera, and she has a show, Why Would I Mispronounce My Own Name? And it's a beautiful show about how, you know, from the time she was a girl, people would say, don't you mean Irma? You know, and so, you know, her name is Irma. Why would you not pronounce the name as it is said? And I think that is a criticism and something you hear often in this country, because we're not as used to being able to say names as you might be in Europe, where you know, instead of the next state, you're going to the next country. where
yeah, for me, it's 2 hours drive to be in France, 3 hours to Holland and to Belgium and Luxembourg. It's easier to connect and travel and see different people. But as to the pronunciation, when I went to the United States to high school, people said, hi, Steph. And I didn't even realize that they were talking to me, because I never heard that kind of name before. But I became Steph instead of Stephanie.
Oh, I see. Sure. So nicknames are more
Yes.
prominent, perhaps.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that we really could improve upon here in terms of pronunciation of Spanish and Portuguese names, as well as Middle Eastern names, because we have a lot more of a integrated culture now, and learning how to pronounce people's names properly. And also,
it is nice.
Sometimes when you don't, it actually means something different in that language.
It can make a big difference. So remember Stefanie Rummel.
Right.
So that's what, and and I thought, for example, also that chansons is something which is known all over the place. In Europe, chansons is songs. But then people said, what do you mean with chansons? I'm like, okay. So we have to, you know, but we are learning and seeing by listening and opening up our eyes on how different other people are. And I think we have much better understanding even in our own life with other people when we see those other thoughts. And I've been in New York City quite a lot. And I love this melting pot where you can have all different kinds of foods and meet different people. Actually, Frankfurt is a bit like that, because we have the highest number of different nations in Germany in Frankfurt, and all different kinds of restaurants and people we can meet. I was also honorary member of an international club where you can meet people and learn and connect.
So how is life approached creatively in different countries to you? What do you
I think there are countries who, I mean, if you look at Hofstede, for example, there are countries who are very afraid of doing mistakes. So they rather say yes to everything instead of no when they mean it. And I don't need to highlight which country is more like that. You will feel it, every one of you, in whichever culture you are right now. And there are other cultures which are more risk takers. I think there's a lot of sponsoring and stipends in the States. So I think you are quite good in risk taking in businesses. And then again, some cultures are more interested in individuals, others more in the family will. And we do feel those differences in Europe, and I think you feel them in the States also. These differences are quite clear.
I want to read some comments here. I realize, oops, I'm missing some comments. So Charlotte Dorr says, loved the puppets.
Hi, Charlotte. Thank you.
And Kristen Schill asks, I'm curious how it feels during COVID about travel between countries.
For me, virtual travels are the best choice right now. And that's what I want to do with my show. I want you to feel to travel to France without even having a jet lag. No 9 hours differences. You just be there and listen to another language and travel around. And so traveling, I miss traveling. I've been all over the world, in Tanzania, New Zealand, in China, in South Africa and Brazil. And I think we all should have the option to be out there for a year, by a school exchange program, Erasmus, whoever it is who is going to, or an exchange. And right now I'm missing it a lot, but I have been in New York, I've been in England virtually. So actually it's easier right now to travel if you accept it. And I have met so many new people and friends, and there are some people just watching right now. And I'm very glad.
Virtual exchange programs, or you just mean, what do you mean?
No. There are all kinds of networks which have opened up during COVID. So for theater makers, songwriting academies, and many others, trainer associations, where you can meet other people right now who are in a similar situation. And I'm in masterminds internationally, and you can meet many people and make friends. I've made friends during this time outside of Germany.
Yes, that's fabulous. We have another question here from one of our Solar Arts Heal artists, Rhonda Muzak, and she wonders, will you say more about healing and the bridge? A question about the Sur le Pont d'Avignon. And do you have anything to add to that about healing and the bridge?
Yes. So if you go into another country and see other people, you're starting to build a bridge in your mind. At the same time, you're rebuilding a bridge to yourself because you watch yourself by watching others, and it mirrors you how you are. And especially in mental health, this can be so strong in order to really understand. And I mean, the picture I've used there was chosen on purpose because we can build bridges by moving and watching and moving towards others and watching them, especially when we don't just stay in a hotel, when we go outside and meet other people, talk to them. It makes a difference.
And Heather Massey asks, in what ways does this presentation differ from, do you know Heather Massey?
Yes, she's one of the people I met during these crazy times, and I'm very glad she made it to come. Thank you.
Yes, she has a show about Hedy Lamarr, a wonderful show, and she wonders, in what ways did this presentation differ from your stage show?
Oh, the difference is it's much more personal, more direct. I have this little screen, and I interact much more with the audience. I really miss that I can talk to the people. We would have sung all together, Frère Jacques, Brother John, and it's more interactive. It's a pianist who would also usually play. I would sing songs from Piaf, Brel, Michel Legrand. It's a journey through the French music, which goes up to Hollywood. And so I give an idea on how French life is like, from childhood memories over war to love to just enjoy fashion. There's a little fashion show in my show. So it's much broader way, from classical music over jazz, pop music. There's Saz in there. She's a very popular pop musician in Europe. And so it's a much broader thing, but this was special because it's more close, more direct, and I can use different ways of communicating. And I like that.
Wonderful. One thing I want to, you're known for your character acting, and I want to ask you a couple of things about your career, and that is, you love to play character roles. You were the witch Into the Woods, and Mrs. Hannigan, Annie, and Sir Reverend Mother or Sister Hubert in Nonsense. You played in Nonsense for quite a while in New York, did you?
Not in New York City, but I was in the longest running show of the world, a Nansen's production, and I've been in many tours and productions all over with Nonsense. I started as Sister Amnesia, forgetting everything, and then I ended up being Sister Reverend Mother or Sister Hubert, and I love those characters and the humor in the show. And where I played this longest running show, I actually have my Quantify, my picture in Connecticut with Dan Goggins Museum
Oh,
of the longest running show. Isn't that fun?
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You were also Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard.
I was not. I have sung songs, but I have not
Okay.
played. Yeah,
Okay.
I have to correct that one. Yeah.
Love It and Sweeney Todd, are those songs, or did you play that role?
I would love to play it. I've seen Angela Lansbury doing it when I was in my education program of musical theater, and it's the worst pies in London. It's so much fun to play, and
Oh, you'll do those songs sometimes. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Do you have any other special plays? I know you've done Hairspray and Mama Rose and Gypsy.
Yeah, those are roles which I love. What else do I do? I mean, for me, it's interesting. Right now, I've written many songs during Corona times, and this is going to be a new show when everything is finished. So it's a show with just own songs about life, exchange, change, being enriched through change, in English, French, and German. So that's something which is interesting to know. I have written various shows, but about three shows with my own songs. And I had a premiere. I usually have somebody play the piano, and this time in the video you saw, I played myself, and so that's really nice.
What percentage of the songs are your own in the show, in Chansons?
And for Chansons, because I really want to show the French story and the French life, there are many songs also from France. I have to, otherwise I can't reflect the ideas. It goes from Marlene Dietrich to Piaf to Jacques Brel. There are some very, very touching stories about also their lives, which might not be very known. So integrate those ideas. And there are songs which have become world hits, but nobody knows that they were actually French songs. Mm-hmm. So I'll surprise people by singing it in French and then go into English, and people realize, wow, yeah, we know that one.
As you say, music unites, like dance, like all art. It really unites. Yes. A comment from Janice Garcia that says, Stefanie is divine.
Oh.
and Marjolaine says, I liked it so much, what you did tonight. Thank you so much. And Kristen says, I'm curious how you get into the space to do meditative pieces, which seem to transcend language. Is this something you use in your healing work?
In my healing work, I've wrote a dissertation on how body language and music and dance therapy can make a change on people, healthy people and sick people. So I have given many trainings in that kind of field. When I work with clients, I also use parts of autogenous training or muscle relaxation after Jacobsen. All those kind of aspects inspired me to do that song Feel Good. Or the imaginative journey is something which I integrated a little bit in there. And I think, and when you look at stress management, everybody can anytime close your eyes and put yourself in a situation which calms you down, and it goes quite quickly if you do it on an everyday rhythm, because we forget that those moments which we loved, and they usually happen when we are on vacation, when we are out there, they can be there any moment. If you close your eyes now for a minute, you can travel wherever you are, what you like best. And that's what I try to do with that song, to really give you this chance. And I know from studies that it actually has a huge impact on people if you practice it regularly.
So practice the sitting and the being quiet and the meditation and the breathing, but also the music.
With the music, it calms you down. It actually reduces the blood pressure. The breathing pattern changes. Also, the mind gets more associated with more creative thoughts, and it does help a lot. And it doesn't need to be long. It can be short. It can be even when you do your job, close your eyes for 5 minutes, put a song on, and then off you go, and it makes a difference.
Absolutely. I noticed another thing. It said the East Still Mentor Course Instructor. What is that, please?
I'm in a worldwide association with Still Voice Training. It's an organization which has decided to study the voice from various angles, not just one, which means how do jazz musicians, opera, belters, country western singers sing, and even Japanese original songs, how are they sung, or Chinese opera. So we did research on the vocal tract structures which you need for different singing styles. And I'm the first one in Germany who has a certificate, and it's the highest level you can reach. I give master classes on still voice training quite regularly in English, French, and German. And actually, that was great because I've done that a lot during Corona times. And I can certify people, and their next course is coming up. And it gives me a big strength during Corona.
We're putting your website in the chat for people can go to. It's your name, StefanieRummel.com, and also I know that I believe they were going to post some of your other information. You have Twitter and Facebook accounts and so on, but the social media is also available, I think, on your website.
It is so important. Stefanie Rummel 1 is Instagram, LinkedIn, Stefanie Rummel. Please connect. It's so important nowadays. Thank you for mentioning it.
Yes,
it's very kind of you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see if I've missed any other comments. And is there, before we, the hour, it flies by so fast. We have just a couple of more minutes.
Yes.
And are there anything else on your mind that you'd like to share?
There are two things. There's, for example, one French saying, because you invited me with the show because we're next to Valentine. And there's a French saying which also can open up our minds, which is fun. Je te donne trois fleurs. A flower like this one, which I received just from my second half. It's a banana tree flower, which lasts for now I have to put it down, for 6 weeks, longer than any kind of rose. And
it's a banana tree.
It's a banana flower. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, it's
Yay. And so I have it with me already for a week, and it'll be staying with me for a longer time. And the French saying is, if you have 3 flowers, je te donne 3 fleurs. Une pour l'amitié, une pour la fidélité, une troisième avec plein d'abeilles pour qu'il te pique si tu vas jamais m'oublier. Ça veut dire, I want to translate, I'm going to give you 3 flowers. 1 for the friendship, 1 for trust and loyalty, and 1 full of bees, because they're going to sting you when you're ever going to forget me. That's a French humor. And there's a second thing.
Especially in France are the friend of bees. They're one of the only countries in the world.
Yes. And I think Valentine is now celebrated in many countries and places. But a friend of mine said, why do we use Valentine only on that special day? Actually, we should use it every day.
Every day. One of the things, and before we did this show, I was looking up different things online in the Mayo Clinic. One of the things was kindness really helps your heart and is good for you. Just being kind to yourself, of course, but being kind to others. And we have someone that had a raised hand, but we need to have that in the chat because we really don't have the ability, I don't think, to the way we're set up right now with the sides to be able to take a live question. But if you could put that in the chat, the person that raised your hand, please do that. And let's see, Kristen also says advice for lovers, long-lasting flowers. Oh, she was putting what you had said about 1 for friendship, for trust and loyalty, and 3 full of bees because they're going to sting you if you never. That's beautiful. Thank you for putting that in there, Kristen.
Thank you.
And then of course we'll build a bridge to connect to Stefanie online and through social media.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that you joined us. This is such an important thing, and I really want to encourage everyone to just be more intercultural, learn more about other cultures, learn languages, welcome those in our lives. They enrich our lives, and we have so much of it in every country now. So I think that's something we can all share together. And as you pointed out, we can do it more easily now because we are using a virtual platform so much that
Yes.
that's wonderful to do.
And with breakout sessions and so on, we can really meet each other. It's not such a big barrier as we think. And it really opens up our worlds for openness, more creativity, more options for change. And it's like a wisdom of life.
Thank you. Beautifully said. Well, a very special thank you to you, Stefanie Rummel, for inviting us into the world of cabaret and healing across cultures with Chansons. And
You're welcome.
to the audience, look for this and other Solo Arts Heal shows and more at themarsh.org and on our MarshStream YouTube platform. And next week on Solo Arts Heal, join us for Mary Goggin in Runaway Princess. Mary Goggin is a survivor with humor, charm, and candor. She shares her story of self-transformation, a hopeful tale of heroine, hooking, and happiness, laced with wicked humor and much pathos of her Irish Catholic upbringing, drug addiction and prostitution, and the multitude of characters she encountered along the way, ultimately finding joy. So please join us for this riveting excerpt and talk back with Mary Goggin and Runaway Princess next week. So with thanks again to Stefanie Rummel and MarshStream producers Kristen Schill, Brianna Carver, and artistic director Stephanie Wiseman, and always to our Zoom and YouTube audiences. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.